Cubs and Cardinals fans, it's Thursday, August 9th, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We'll talk about the Cardinals winning their fourth straight series for the first time in a long time, the MVP debate, Rick Ankiel, Shohei Ohtani's latest home run, Tyler O'Neill's injury, Ron's rants, and El got the job. The Team of Rivals podcast starts now.
Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. Bringing a high drive into left. Back goes the Craig. He's at the track. He has it. The world champion for 2011. A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is the Team of Rivals podcast. No insiders, no anonymous sources, just passionate analysis from the bleacher seats. Here are your hosts, Ron, Pete, and Elliott.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to this week's show. We have quite a show tonight. I think we've got some emotional topics lined up. And for those of you that follow on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else, you know exactly where we're going with this. But I'm showing emotions on a different front. It seems to be a private war that I'm fighting, and everybody's enjoying seeing my pain over it. We're going to get into that a little bit later on.
Wait, Ron, do we need to be worried about you? Do you want to lie down for this part?
It's a private war, Pete. We're going to get into it.
We're going to get into a private war. It's private.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you want me to detail it for you, it's a private war with me yelling at the screen of my cell phone every morning, like early hours at work, like, oh, a show-stopping home run in the first inning. Holy shit, Shohei Ohtani. Let's talk about it. Major League Baseball. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Ron, see, you missed it.
About Zazzle.
Ron, you missed it. It's show stopping.
Oh, that's right. A show-stopping home run in the first inning.
You need the pause in there to sell it. Show stopping, because it's show.
I'm not giving him credit.
But it wasn't show stopping because it was before the show even started. It was BP.
Oh, those are other.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about right now this week, it was on the first inning. Like the first inning, the opposing team just laid down and gave up. It's like, oh shit, Ohtani hit a home run in the first inning. Let's just stop.
It was a terrible home run. Did you watch it?
Yeah, it wasn't a towering shot. He sneezed and hit that. He didn't even know he hit it. Sure as hell didn't have a bat flip.
It only went, 2 rows into left field?
Welcome everyone back to the show this week.
It went into the pitcher's.
I'm undefeated, never lost. Yeah.
Hey, I got a new soundbite for us. I thought this would be a nice one to put out. You guys tell me what you think this is. Adam, I want you to vote on this too. Pete and Elliott, listen up.
No.
That's a trap.
Mm-mm.
No.
What are we doing here, Ron?
No idea.
Would you tell me what the sound is from our last show, guys?
No.
No idea.
I'm not sure. No.
I think that was Kyle Reese starting to laugh, but biting into his sandwich. He joked about it. And said he wasn't, but this sounds like a sandwich biting. I laughed. Somebody said something funny when I was biting into a sandwich.
No.
I'm calling him out on it right now. I think that's what he did.
I think he needs to call
this
it
is just
and clarify
breaking
things.
news. Mookie Betts hits the first cycle of this season.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good for the Red Sox. They needed.
That's exciting.
Red Sox needed some good news.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed.
All right. So joining us this week, returning to the show. Oh, I'm sorry. You playing a clip, Pete? Should I shut up?
That's
No. Sorry, that was me. I was trying to swipe it and then it started playing. I guess that's a new feature.
we got a couple of big things to talk about here. So, Elliott, first of all, before we get into the show, before we talk about our guest here, Elliott, congratulations, you landed the job, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
Happy to hear that.
Appreciate that.
As long as it doesn't interfere with this podcast, I'm cool with it.
No, it'll eventually make Pete and I pretty close neighbors. So,
did you let them know that you can't travel on Thursdays and that you have to leave early? So
yeah, absolutely.
You can travel on Thursdays. You just got to take that mic with you.
That's right.
And be in a nice,
I'm
quiet
give
place.
the Cardinals pitchers when they get a hit.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's good. Oh man, we should have done that. We should or this.
No.
We'll do this.
That's for the hitting. That's for the.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
We'll do for the Cubs.
There you go.
Arrogant sons of bitches.
Although they got rid of that, they're not doing that anymore, are they?
I don't know.
Are you watching the games at EE? I don't think they're doing it anymore.
What year did players, once they arrived to a base when they got a hit, did they start looking into their dugout and doing some kind of remember the beast mode thing that came out? I think the Brewers started doing that. And
it was on in San Francisco.
I think the Cubs have only been doing it that I can recall, doing something as a team for maybe the last 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
It started with.
When did the ass slap start?
When I met you.
Oh God, forever.
Like Rome?
The ass slap's been around since
the gladiators do that.
That's right.
No, but
good stab.
Way to kill the
line. Oh no!
You really took that hand off.
I would slap you on the ass, but I lost it in last week's battle.
I think the big thing was when they did the hip check with Grandpa Rossi. That was it was the head rub in 2015.
Yeah.
2015 was the head rub, and then the hip.
That was a boring one though.
When did the cup tap come in?
Jeez, I don't know.
That was with Grandpa Rossi still around, right?
Well, and it coincidentally, no coincidence, but it stopped when Yadier Molina got a foul ball off the nuts.
It may have. You know they did that in the Cubs dugout, right? When they would get a big hit, when they would score, they would come back in and they would
tap people.
They would tap cups.
They would. I'm not surprised.
Well, that was the hip check, right? Where they
it wasn't a hip check.
Did they tap? By the cup tap, did they?
It was a cup tap.
Did they tap each other's cups with their own cups?
Yes.
No, I did not know that. That is so Cub.
I will find. You're right. Hashtag that's Cub.
Yeah.
I will find it.
Everybody
and I will post it to our Twitter.
Everybody in.
That's right. Now we're starting to understand. Last year, that's Cub. This year, everybody in.
All right. So we got a show to go through. Jesus Christ. We got a guest on.
This is great.
I know. This is great. We have a guest on tonight, though, and I want to introduce him, welcoming him back to the show, Adam Maurer. And Adam, we're glad to have you back on again. You were a great conversation last time we had you on here. Want to know for our particular listeners here, I know you were working on a movie last time we talked to you. Can you give us a quick update on where you are with that and how much longer before we can see this thing?
Absolutely. So my editor has been tirelessly working on our edit of The Grail, and he's been doing an amazing job. We're in our final stages of edit. I believe by next week, we'll have a finished version of the cut. So once we lock the script, we're going to go over to my sound engineer, who's going to fix up the sound, do the sound effects, and then we go and get it scored. So we're looking at an end date around November. That's what me and my producer have been talking about, end date around November, and then start submitting it to festivals and on all those good things. So I'm excited and terrified at the same time.
So you've got your work print all set.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you expecting any more edits, or do you think that it's pretty much locked?
It's pretty much locked. There might be, sorry for the train in the background. That's the city, right?
No worries.
But yeah, we're pretty much happy with where we're at. Now, my producer might have a few things that he might want to change here and there. Nothing major, but we are looking at a lock in the next week of the script.
Go ahead, Adam.
No. I was just going to say a lock edit.
So let me ask you: Are you the type of filmmaker who works with something with music playing, or do you like to just have the sound from the film as you're editing? I mean, do you have kind of an idea of, do you have a scratch track that you're working with just so that as you're cutting things together, or do you cut it all and then let the composer do the work after that?
I listen to music when I write.
Yeah.
If something is particular, I'll write it into the script, hoping that I can afford to put it in there.
You happen to be listening to this podcast while you wrote the script? You know, your story will probably go off the rails at some point.
I actually was listening to the podcast in between writing sessions, but
smart thing. Okay.
Be serious. This is what I like to do to center myself. But when I write, I like to listen to music, classical mainly. But if there's a certain thing that I hear, sometimes it'll help me write a scene. But when I'm watching it, I only watch it with what I have. And my editor's been amazing. He's not scoring it, but my editor did put music in there to kind of give me a feel of what would work in there. So it's not the definite sound that's going to be in the film for the score, but it really did help me when I was watching all the cuts together, how it flows and where it cuts together well and where it doesn't work and what needs to be edited. But no, I don't listen to any music when I watch it. I just watch the takes and whatever's there, so I can kind of, be like, yeah, I like that, or we need to, what other takes do we have there, and go through those, because it's been sessions. I've been sitting in with him on sessions to cut and piece it together. But he's done an amazing job. I'm really happy. He's been working really hard. So I'm really excited about it. Again, terrified, of course, but hopefully it'll be something that somebody out there in TV land will care to watch.
Excellent. And is that the goal, TV, or are you hoping to get it as a feature release?
It's a feature release. So once we're done, it's without intro or exit with credits, we're at 82 minutes.
Perfect.
So once we put in the intro and the exit of the credits, it'll probably, I'm thinking probably 86, 87 minutes is what we're looking at.
That's what a movie should be.
They
Except Lord of the Rings. Except the Lord of the Rings movie.
Oh, by the way, to the A's.
Huh?
Fernando Rodney.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Fernando Rodney to the A's. All right.
Oh, really?
Yep. That just happened.
Sweet. So, Adam, getting back to just the movie real quick. So you're going to release it in festivals. You said maybe November.
So once we're done with it, we will start entering it into festivals and see which ones we get. My producer, luckily, has done this before, so he has several that he's taken his films to that he'd like to. Hoboken is one of them that we're looking to go to, along with many others. But like the more mainstream ones, like Sundance and Cannes and Tribeca, this film really isn't that type of film.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's not a coming of age. It's more of a slapstick comedy independent film.
I'm looking forward to getting a view of it at some point in time. So yeah,
you're the first one, so I'll hold you to that.
All right, I'm in. Yeah, no, looking forward to it. And congrats. I know that I can't even imagine what this type of workload's like. I mean, I work on projects all the time. Some of them have ridiculous lead times. Others you're given a little bit more leeway. But I understand. You're working with many cross-functional groups. You're trying to bring something together under one vision, and it's a daunting task. And doing what you do, I'm sure it's like it's nonstop. You finish one, but you were already thinking about one ahead of when you finished it, and it's just a continuous thing. But
I talked with my producer about another film that I had written. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually working on getting another one going while I'm still trying to finish this one. He understands that I want to finish this one before moving on to the.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm looking forward to hearing more, and definitely look forward to seeing it. All of us are. And Pete's got a theater background, so if you need an extra, Pete's all on board.
I love Pete's attitude. I think that there's definitely something holy that we could work with there.
You don't have to BS me, man.
No, he likes you.
I don't.
I know. I've never asked.
Listener of the show. I mean, Elliott. I mean, I think all your personalities mesh well together, which is one of the reasons why I've listened for so long. But yeah, it's being a guy from living in LA who's from the Midwest. Nobody talks about the Cubs, let alone the Cardinals. So, I mean, having no one to vent to or soundboard off of about baseball that I care about, because when I talk baseball, I care about the Cardinals and the Cubs. Because in my opinion, and I have my sound engineer, he's from Milwaukee. He is a Milwaukee Brewers fan.
Hey, you know who else is, Adam? Cato.
Who?
Do you follow
Cato
Cato Kalin on Twitter?
No, I haven't.
Huge Brewers fan.
my
I was
God.
shocked. Oh my God, you got to follow him.
You need to follow him.
Arrogant?
No, he's entertainment, just pure entertainment.
Yeah.
I got to check that out. Okay.
Yeah, he's always done. He's always done with them.
Speaking of which,
Ron was skeptical until we subscried, and then Ron understood.
That was the best subscribe you guys have ever done. The worst one has been Michael Cerami. You guys know I actually did unfollow him during our show.
Yeah, I know, and
you guys are free to follow him again. I am not the controller of our Twitter account.
Why?
I thought it would be funny.
No, I mean, why follow him back?
I want to get one of those mugs right there. Right there, Pete. I got.
You know where it is? It's on Zazzle.
You know what, Adam? Don't even worry about it. Hey, don't even worry about it. We'll get you a shirt, mug. They declined our prophylactics. I don't know why.
You know what? We could get him the interlocking mugs for his coffee in the morning.
God, I can't believe those are still up there. Those are still up there. They're interlocking mugs and they're heart shaped, and it's me and Pete staring at each other.
My wife would love it. I got to do that. I'm going to make it. Right.
Shit, don't do it.
Do it.
Oh boy.
So did you guys check on Cato today? By the way,
no. What did he do?
I admit he was in fine. They lost to the Padres.
The grand slam to lose to the Padres.
I'm pulling it up now. Oh no, hey, Adam, are you following him? You need to right now.
I'm checking him out right now.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4 amazing tweets by him.
I can't wait. This is the best mood I've been in all day. Let's go.
Wait, did you say Cato?
Yes.
Cato Kalin, and he was with the OJ trial, all that stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and he watches apparently every game. And they played really well against the Dodgers, and I think he was at all the games.
Well, I know who he wasn't visiting.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Did you just get that, or are you reading it?
No, I'm reading it now.
Okay. Oh,
Hey.
Here we go. Can I read it? Can I read it out loud?
Go.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes.
All right. Cato, latest tweet. This was 5 hours ago. Counsel, you know nothing about managing. You have nibble on team, and you know Knable. Is that a player?
Yeah, Corey Knable.
We're in America, so I say Nable. Because K silent like knife.
Hey, those are in all caps. You're supposed to be yelling there.
It's
Sorry,
like
yeah, right. Sorry.
And it's silent. Kisner.
Right.
No. Ben Cerruti corrected me on that, like mid podcast. Like, no, Nizer. Thank you.
No, it's Kisner.
Reese calls him kids.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. Kisner. Yep, that's right. I got corrected because I was like, is it Neisner because the K is silent? Is it Knisner? Knisner is the dumbest pronunciation too, and that's the first thing I went to. My knee jerk was Knisner.
You're right.
All right, so I'm going to read it. Pete, you're right. You're absolutely right. All caps means you're yelling, but that's like younger generation knows that.
Read
I don't.
it like he wrote it. You should yell when he capitalizes it.
Is he English?
No. He's from Milwaukee.
His photo is off-putting because he.
What's a Milwaukee? Yeah, okay, fine. Counsel, you know nothing about managing. You have Knable on team, and he sucks. You know he sucks at Brewers. Counsel, just quit. 3 straight walks, and you keep him in the game. You just blow. If Milwaukee fans have the balls, they would hold up. Fire Counsel. Signs over dugout. Knable, you ruin everything. You suck. That's hard to read. It's very hard to read. It's very hard to read when it's not complete sentences. I'm just telling you.
You got to go back because the one before is even better.
Hey, hold on.
I've only said 1,000 times infinity. Knable's pitching is beyond diarrhea. And Brewers fans, you really want Counsell as manager? Knable just sucks.
Fine. Can I
up again?
Hey.
Not
easy.
A closer.
Can I read it? What character do you want me to Gollum? You want me to Gollum this one?
Yeah.
Would Gollum be better? Okay.
That would
hang on.
be phenomenal.
Hang on. I love it.
He's got to get.
Wait. You got to get. Yeah, there you go.
He's got to get in the character.
I've said it 1,000. Infinity. Cabers' pitching is beyond diarrhea. At Brewers fans, you really want Counsell as manager? Knable just sucks. He effed up again. He's not even a closer. How can Counsell know this? Management is POS. Ah!
There you go.
I love it.
Amazing.
Hey, look. Oh my God, my wife's coming out here because I was screaming. She's opening the door. I heard it.
Would you get her on the show once?
She doesn't. First of all, she doesn't like any of this.
I know.
She supports me. She supports me. She will not go near this camera or microphone.
I know. I saw the.
And she just shut the door. She shut the door because she heard me talking about her possibility of getting her on here.
I saw her.
She opened it again. She just opened it again.
She can let some air conditioning into the garage.
Honey, sweetie.
God, that would be so wonderful right now.
Come on the show.
She won't. All right. So that was Kato Kalin. What entertainment that was. I'm
Seriously,
probably going to be embarrassed on that tomorrow, right?
If you're not,
No,
because
amazing.
I absolutely screen capped that.
Oh, was my belly poking out? Because I was
That's
like,
not the only thing that was spoken.
oh, no. Well, no, these shorts have built-in underwear. There couldn't be anything.
Uh-huh.
Hey, if you need help picking out underwear, just let my brother-in-law know. He'll find some.
Oh yeah, that's right. You told me about those. All right.
Wait, what?
Adam, go ahead. The cat's out of the bag. You got to explain it.
So my brother-in-law, he's in the military. He's stationed out in Fort Bragg in North Carolina. And when he works out for the military, he wears these Under Armour shorts, as we call them.
Spandex shorts.
Exactly. And they show everything. But not only does he wear them to work out in, he wears them out in public to like go shopping. And after he's in the military right now, and he's like, "You asshole!" Like he wears these tidy. He's got them in black and blue. Apparently, he is a diehard Detroit Tigers fan. He's from Detroit. Been in the military for 16 years now. He finally found these shorts that he absolutely loves to work out in, but they're more underwear than shorts, and he'll wear them out. My sister finally said, look, if you're going to wear these out, I'm not going with you. So he'll purposely wear them.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's beautiful. I've yet to get him to take a photo of it because I mean, I know he won't, but as soon as he Instagrams that shit, I'm putting it up there.
You're free to post it on our Facebook page too.
Oh,
absolutely.
It's happening. I'm waiting for it. I'm antagonizing him to do it. I'm like, hey, show me one of those squats, bro. Show me one of those squats.
Hey, I should send you guys an image of there was a car in front of me. I was at a stoplight. Listeners, we're going to get to baseball.
Eventually.
We're going to get back to it eventually.
There's
a car in front of me. It's probably going to end up having to be. A car in front of me had a license plate. You even lift.
Jesus. That's the best response. That's perfect. Pete, that's perfect right there.
I love it. That's my wheelhouse. Please have that license plate and be right in front of me at a stoplight because I'm going to take a picture.
Gone to orientation yet? Have your kids had orientation for back to school yet?
Today.
No,
Today.
It starts next week.
Today we had orientation.
Yeah, we had ours today.
With my paperwork in line to give my information, my kids' information to the school, and lo and behold, off to the right, I see this child sitting alone, separating paperwork, and guess what he's wearing? Not Dodger blue, Chicago.
Oh, no shit. Adam, we can't go anywhere.
Chicago. I mean, no, dude, LA. Look, I've seen Cardinals fans, but I have seen more Cubs fans than I have Cardinals fans. And it's disturbing because I live in LA.
You're right. You're like a Ebola.
They're embarrassed to wear Dodger blue unless you're like downtown somewhere.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Matt, and this is no joke, guys. This actually happened tonight. So I'm with my oldest one. I picked him up from day camp. He starts regular school next week. So we're going to there's an ice cream social for the kids to meet their teachers. And out here, he's in a charter school out here in Davidson, North Carolina, and they stay with the same teacher for 2 years. So he started kindergarten. He had the same teacher for first grade. Well, he gets a new teacher this year. He's starting second, and then my 5-year-old starting kindergarten, which I'm frightened of him. He's starting kindergarten, so we had to go, back to back because both kids are starting school, new rooms and everything. So as I'm pulling into the auxiliary parking lots, this place was packed. He goes, "Ooh, Cubs!" I'm like, "What?" Goddamn Jeep right in front of me with a Cubs tire cover. Adam, yes, funny,
No,
yes.
but it was that he went, "Ooh, Cubs."
Well, he said it like, "Ooh, Cubs."
Oh, okay. Like,
even though I got a Cub flag out in my garage, I never needed to buy it now that I've got a green screen behind me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pete. I know you told me that right away, and I didn't do
Explain it however you want.
Hey, no. Listen. There's a diehard Cubs Bears fans that lives across the street from me, and
you should invite him over, him on the show.
No. But his angle in my garage, he can only see the Cardinal flag. So he knew as a Bears fan, because I had a Bears shirt on one day, and he's like, "Hey, bro, you should come over Sunday, see my man cave." All right. Then he looked completely offended, like I had lied to him this whole time. He saw a Cardinal flag because I have this thing down his angle. He can only see the Cardinal side. He's like, the betrayal on his face. Like, what? How could you? Like, no, dude, I grew up in Central Illinois. My football team only had one.
That's like being a Chicago Bulls and a Cardinals fan. Because, like, I grew up in Southern Illinois. I grew up in.
Yeah, I'm a Bulls. I was a Bulls fan too. If I still cared about the NBA, which I don't.
There is no other professional basketball team outside of Chicago, and where the era that we grew up in.
And Michael Jordan, right? Yeah.
I mean, how could you not love Jordan? He was the best player of all time. And I mean, when you look at the Bears, like I really like the Allen signing. I think with Trubisky. I'm sorry, I know we're going to football real.
No. We've done this before. We've done this before on here, and I know Cardinal fans are right now. They're like, "What? When are you guys going to start?"
Who are you going to watch? The Rams in LA?
Or are we going to watch the Arizona Cardinals since you grew up in St. Louis and they had a Cardinals football team for 5 minutes?
That's what sucks about being a St. Louis fan in general. You either have the
Hey, hon, can I turn the camera on you?
The Rams, Arizona.
Oh, she scampered off. She scurried off.
No, I'm just saying, I like the Robinson signing because I think Allen Robinson with Trubisky will progress. I think they will succeed in the NFL. And I think that once that they figure out their blocking scheme and their running scheme, I think Trubisky can be what he was brought here to be, which is a true number one quarterback with somebody to throw the ball to. It's like when you watch Goff, because I grew up in Southern Illinois in the 90s when the Rams came into town. That's about the time that I started watching football. And when you had Isaac Bruce and you had Torrey Holt and then you had Trent Green go down and then you're like, who the hell is Kurt Warner? And all of a sudden it's a big deal. And then that got blown up. But what I mean, transitioning to Bears, you see Trubisky, he has a lot of talent. He can be an MVP, in my opinion. I think he has the tools. I think he has the intelligence. He definitely has the arm. Allen Robinson gives him that long stretch down the field to throw to. And I think that if they can get their blocking scheme and their running scheme on par with the passing game, honestly, I think they could be a surprise like the Rams were last year. I think they could win 10, 11 games and make it to the playoffs and be dangerous.
And with that said, gentlemen, that is the most intelligent Bears analysis you're going to get from a Cardinals fan on this show for the next 12 months, because it sure as hell isn't going to come from me. But please answer his question, because I cannot.
Yeah, they're very excited about the offense this year, and if only they could get Roquan Smith signed. But looks like that's going to be a challenge. But Rodgers is none too happy about his receiving core, and that's just outstanding.
Yeah, I love it. Maybe at this point in time, since you just said that, Pete, I think you're going to prompt a call here any minute.
That would be phenomenal. Hey, B, your Hall of Fame quarterback thinks that his receivers are, and I quote, piss poor. So,
man, Adam, I don't know if you know who B is. He's my son. He only calls in when he's emotionally fueled. No facts.
I've listened to the show. I love Braden.
What has Sun Wong O done recently? Because
Jesus, Pete, stop. It's gonna happen.
Hey, speaking of which,
poking the bear.
Speaking of
you
which,
are poking the bear right now.
I don't know. Did you read about the little bit of trolling that Sun Wong O may be doing with his uniform number in Colorado?
No. What was
it? So
the
number 18, the pronunciation of the number 18 in Korean is apparently very close to the Korean pronunciation of the word fuck.
No.
So his uniform number in Colorado is conceivably oh fuck.
Wait. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. Bases loaded. Who's coming in? Oh fuck.
That's kind of what it was like when he was in St. Louis. That's exactly
I'm sure what it was when Braden was watching the game.
I'm sure he was thinking that. He won't say it out loud, but I'm sure he's thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, gentlemen, we got some topics to cover. The first one, I think, since we're all rolling right now, I think we should go right into the big one, Pete. And that is,
Rants?
No. I think we need to cover the territory of a lot of heated debate around Cubs and Cardinals fans on Twitter, on Facebook, and everything. MVP, Baez, Carpenter, Arenado, the whole thing. I want to hear all of our takes on this.
Who's Arenado?
Arredondo? Like, who's that?
Yeah, Arredondo. Yeah.
Is it Arredondo?
It's Olin.
Right?
Olin
Tornado.
Olin Tornado.
There you go. There you go.
All right, for the love of God.
Don't at me, Rockies.
The Rockies got some retweets and likes from the Rockies.
Pete, now you generated some dialogue with the Rockies, and that was brilliant, man. I love that.
I know, especially when they kept dropping the goddamn ball.
Yeah, they didn't do you any service.
No.
Wait, the Rockies forgot that they were actually in it. They were like, wait, anything outside of Denver? It's like, wait, the baseball team? Did we have a baseball team?
They have the Avalanche. I haven't forgotten.
They do.
And the Broncos.
We forgot about them too.
Well, so there's a hot debate around this whole topic. So I want to go round table here and talk about. Look, I look who we think deserves to be in this conversation, and who do we feel right now? The season ended today. Who deserves this award? And let's defend our positions on that, and we can do it. We can do it. I think in a non-violent fashion. I hope not.
Here's
We're
what
too
makes
far
me
away from each other to be violent.
Yeah. Here's what.
Oh, I'm verbally violent, like Ben Shapiro violent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
Here's what I keep seeing out in the Twitter sphere, stuff like that. So, Cardinals fans are saying Carpenter easily the MVP because he's leading in all these categories. And then you got Cubs fans sitting here going, no. Baez definitely MVP because, well, he's leading in RBIs and he is one of the most exciting players to watch with some of the best defense that you've ever seen out in the field.
I agree with that.
And he plays multiple positions. He plays third, he plays short, he plays second,
which I actually
does it
think
all over the field.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think that actually depresses his WAR because WAR does take into account defense, but you get more of a bump from it if you're only playing one position because you're able to accumulate more
But
DRS.
real quick, RBIs in general are bullshit.
Right.
They are.
RBIs is bullshit. Because you can only score with the people
it's based on circumstance. That's correct, right. And that's been a lot of the arguments from a lot of Cardinals fans.
It's like the whole win-loss thing with pitchers too,
right? And then you got Cubs fans saying, "Well, Carpenters and the Cardinals are probably not going to make the playoffs. So you can only be MVP if you're on a winning team. They're like, whoa.
Mike Trout or
Giancarlo Stanton won it. It's like, well, Giancarlo Stanton.
You got to remember when Alex Rodriguez won it a couple times with the Rangers. They weren't in the playoffs either.
Trout, Angels.
Barry Bonds.
Right. But Mike Trout, he is consistently the best player in baseball. And usually deserves it.
It doesn't depend. You know what? It's like the Oscars. I was saying this in the last episode. It's like the Oscars. It's like, well, Brad's been here a few times. He's finally directed something we need to give him credit for. Let's go ahead and give him the credit. That's Nolan Arenado to me, not Baez, because Baez is, for the first time, showing who we all want him to be, kind of like what we want Wong to be, because Wong has the
piss
bat.
off a lot of Cardinals fans saying that.
No. You know what, Pete? 'Cause I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to build right off what you said, Adam, and I said this on the last show as well. You take players that are just fun to watch, that are exciting to watch, that fill a highlight reel. I mean, Javy Baez is that for baseball, at least in the National League this year. He is absolutely that. He can play. One of you guys said it a minute ago. Yeah, right. He can play any position. I mean, literally, this guy could play 2 through 8.
He is the third backup catcher. Yeah.
I wasn't finished, Elliott. but I really do believe this guy could play anywhere 2 through 8 and be 2 through 9, and be serviceable in every spot. That he could adequately fill any position, and he can play some of those positions spectacularly. Pete, I do agree with what you said earlier, that the fact that he's able to move around does hurt, right? But
Carpenter too moves around. That hurts.
He does move around. He's had a solid year of defense, but we all know this, right, Adam? Like
first and third.
But Carpenter's not going to play any position spectacular, but he's going to be like solid, right? He's been very solid this year where he's played, whether it's second, third, or first. And
I would disagree with third, but second and first.
Well, third, we get nervous of his arm, but if you look at his statistics, like defensively at third, he's been very solid. But yeah, I agree with you. It is because he hasn't played. He's played there maybe the least. He's played obviously heavy at first and second, but
he came up as a second.
Actually, he came up as a third baseman. They had him in the outfield a little bit, but it wasn't La Russa. It was kind of similar to how La Russa did with Skip Schumacher, where he where he converted him to a second baseman, right? Yeah. So defensively, they're like Matt Carpenter is able to do the routine things, but Matt Carpenter is rarely going to go way out of range to make something. Like he's going to make a lot of routine plays. And yes, his arm, I agree with you, Adam. His arm does make me nervous from far away, but he will at least take care of what he's supposed to. He's actually had a very nice defensive year, given that he's moved around a bit.
He's leading the league in WAR at 5.2.
Right, and it does account defense into that, absolutely. And guys, the only reason like Carpenter right now for us is like amazing thing to see on stats or whatever you look at is given where he was,
were wanting to trade him at the beginning of the year.
You're right, man. I mean, especially in May, right? But since mid-May, it is amazing where he's at right now statistically, like in the MVP conversation compared to where he was in mid-May. If there was an award for in-season comeback player of the year,
oh yeah,
hands down, right? I mean, but I think he'll be penalized on two things of why he's not considered for the MVP at the end of the year. It'll be one, that he got off to such a crap start, and it was a terrible start. Two, it will be if his team misses the playoffs.
And not just a terrible start, but it was a month and a half, 2 months long.
Monumental, terrible.
Yeah, no, it wasn't just like the first
under
2
What was that?
No. It was mid-May. Mid-May, like
guy hitting under 200 to go to hitting 280.
He was hitting 140 like May 15th or 16th.
With like 7 home runs.
Right.
Like 3 home runs, I think. Pete, check me.
No, but seriously, you look at Baez. Let's be honest about this. Baez is younger, and he's an athlete. Carpenter is a phenom. He's doing really well at what he does, which is lead off. His defense leaves something more desirable. So when you look at a guy, when you're talking MVP, what of the 5 tools is he doing? Can he hit? Can he throw? Can he run? Can he make the easy plays? Can he make those special plays that Baez makes going to his back or ranging to his left, and turn those double plays? Can he catch those line drives at third as opposed to second and short? I mean, Baez has done this, which is what makes it, from just a baseball fan standpoint, something special. Because if you have that kind of player who can play third, who can play short, who can play, I mean, he's mainly played second, but if Addison Russell wasn't there, for sure he'd be penciled in at shortstop every day. So he is a special talent. You can't take anything away from Javier Baez. He's a special guy. He's a special player. He's doing a lot of things really well right now that he hasn't done in the past.
Yeah, and his slides are ridiculous, and his tagging is unbelievable. Something we haven't seen in ever. I mean,
the fact that you could pencil it, like, you don't have to worry about, hey, Baez tonight against Cole. I mean, no, you guys have Cole Hamels now, but I mean against Jake Arrieta.
Well, even if it was an inter squad game,
right? Like, you don't have to worry. It's like, hey, we need to pencil Javy at third tonight, and then the next series, you know what? Addison needs a day off. We're gonna put you at short. It's not a defensive liability ever. When you're at third, you're like, I hope he can fucking make the throw from third base.
Well, yes. Supporting that point, Baez made a highlight throw from third base in the first game of the series against the Royals, and then made two. Yeah, and made two.
He's an athlete.
Yeah, and then the very next night made two unbelievable over-the-shoulder catches at second base. You don't see that from many players.
Oh, because Hayward was playing so far back. I mean, he was 50 feet out into right field.
Right. Hayward could have made both of those catches.
Right.
Both of those could have been Hayward's catches.
This is what I'm sorry, but this is what we're talking about. This is baseball. Because you know what? Back in the 1900s, the late 1800s, when the game was being involved, you know what? They didn't ever pencil anybody in. It's like, hey, it's like Little League ball. My best athlete is going to go play this position for this inning. And then when that best player has to come in and pitch on the mound, I'm going to put my next best positional player at this position. That is an athlete. When you can put them in center, at short, at first, at catcher, at these key positions, because, I mean, let's be honest, right field, left field, they're kind of throwaways. They really are.
You can hide guys there.
Yeah. You can I'm sorry. That's what I mean. You can hide guys on the corner outfields, but at your key positions, you have to have an athlete.
Yeah.
Because that athlete, like Mookie Betts, you can put him at second. Because you know why? Because he's an athlete.
Yeah.
You can have him play at multiple positions. Javier Baez could play center. He could play left. He could play right. Realistically, he can play all positions except for pitcher, and maybe he could throw as a pitcher. That's what makes him fun to watch, because no matter where he's at, you're gonna see something special, because when he gets an opportunity, he's going to commit on. When you see Carpenter
you did just piss Cardinal fans off, which I
no. Hey, Cardinals fan, listen to me real quick. If you had an option between Javier Baez and Colton Wong, and
that's slant.
No, this is baseball. It's the MLB.
Yeah.
If you're a manager, if you're an owner, you want Javier Baez.
Yep. No argument. That's a landslide.
With that, you can text me, you can email me, you can tweet me, you can Instagram me.
And his email is Adam J. Maurer.
Okay. You can tweet me at Adam J. Maurer. Come find me, because if you really give me a scenario where Colton Wong is better than Javier Baez. Now let's put it this way. Colton Wong only plays second base. So you could argue that Colton Wong is the best.
He tried center field once, and Pete's got an image of that he likes to post up all the time. Adam, you're absolutely right. And I think we had Jim Cromer on right before the season started for Two Birds on a Bat, and his favorable Cub player was Javier Baez. He thought he was a special talent, uber talented. A lot of energy, a lot of upside to him. And you know what's impressed me most, guys, of Javier Baez, we're eventually going to talk about Matt Carpenter again, I think. But
Have to.
What has impressed me about Javier Baez is that he's done less stupid shit year over year. And you Cub fans have to be noticing the same thing because I notice it. Yeah, right. So he is getting better. He is getting better about not getting too excited and trying to throw that guy out at home and just hitting your cutoff guy, like, or what, you know what I mean? Like he goes out to hit, he goes out to take the throw, but he's not getting over excited and making the poor throw. Just as an example. So,
and it's translating to every aspect of his game. He's not chasing those sliders in the dirt as much. He still does,
which is depressing.
Right. He's not
Cardinals
as bad as he was. Yeah. You're right. He's making better decisions on the base paths, and he's got some kind of magic where all he has to do is be aggressive on the paths.
Yep.
And fielders panic. I mean, he was
what was it? Forcing them to make mistakes.
Yeah, was it the Padres?
Where they threw
picked off. He was picked off going to third.
Save that segment for in a minute. Don't talk about the Padres.
Get there. But it was in the series against the Padres. He went to steal third. He was picked off by the pitcher, and the pitcher airmails to throw to third base. He's a guy who gets paid to throw the ball 60 feet, and he can't lob it 60 feet. He throws it over his third baseman, and El Amago scores. I mean, that's the kind of pressure that he puts on a defense simply by being on base.
Yeah, but in that instance where he did it with San Diego, they took one of your players in the minor leagues. When that happened.
It was a player to be named.
Yeah.
Oh, man. just something about that org.
But how long has Javier Baez been with the Cubs?
They drafted him. He was drafted by Jim Hendry, and I believe it was 2011.
Right. So he was in the minors for a few years. But how many years has he? Ron, this comes back to what we were talking about because he was there before the Cubs were what we're talking about now, because what the Cubs are now is what the
he was up in 2014. We saw.
I think that was his first year.
It was.
Right. He had about a small sample size. I think he had about 50 games and a couple hundred at bats.
That's right.
Well, he was a pretty free swinger at that point. So the knock on him was he had a high strikeout rate.
That was his first year. We're talking about now 5 years later. He's had 5 years here and there. Over the last 3 years, he's really had an ability to
he's only 24.
Right.
He's 25. He's just turned 25.
Okay. Yeah.
Jesus, Cub fans. Do you need a Cardinal fan? Do you need a Cardinal fan out in LA to
I'm questioning how much of a Cardinal fan he is.
Adam, are you shitting me?
My sister, to be mean to my father, was a Cubs fan, and she would only go to the Cardinals-Cubs game in St. Louis.
Good for her.
Shut up. Shut your mouth.
I'm telling you, man. I have an interesting family.
You do. Absolutely.
So, you know what? My grandfather was a huge Cardinals fan, and
God bless him.
I would call him every time the Cubs beat the Cardinals, and you know what he would do? He'd be, God damn it. And then I'd hear click.
Good for him. Maybe I'll call him from now on. Give me his number.
So you guys made the case for Javier Baez. So I'll make the case for Matt Carpenter. He has been, since mid-May, without a doubt, the best hitter in the National League. And arguably, he may be, for the last 2.5 months, the hottest hitter in baseball. And I don't think you can argue that anybody's been hotter in the National League. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to argue differently in all of baseball. I mean, the run he is on is insane.
But why is nobody in the national media talking about that?
One, because it's St. Louis and it's not a major media market. And two, because yes, technically the Cardinals are in contention, but they're not. They're so far back that the baseball media is ignoring them. And I would imagine that the baseball media probably in their minds has already decided the Cubs have won this division, and it's only a matter of time. And so any attention that they're paying to the NL Central is paid to the potential of a wild card team. So
they're ahead of Washington. People talk more about Washington.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, no, Adam, you're actually right. You're absolutely right. And Pete, your point is not off at all because, but I think it extends beyond this year, Pete. I don't think it's isolated this year. Why they're not talking about the Cardinals or why they're not talking about Matt Carpenter. If you look at the standings, they're 6.5 out of first in the Central, and right now, you start creeping towards mid-August. Yeah, you're not going to talk about a team that's 6.5 back yet, but in the wild card, 3.5 back right now currently. They still have teams to climb. I mean, they're behind Colorado and LA just to get to it.
By a half a game.
Right. That's all very tight.
What world are we living in?
Well, but Pete's right. When it's Midwest and it's not Chicago, it's harder to get that attention. It really is. I mean, unless you
look at and they get the attention,
Well, when the Cardinals got a lot of attention, they had a guy, Tony La Russa, one of the most tenured, successful managers at their helm. They had Albert Pujols, who had a cyborg like first 10 years in the league.
And they were on a ridiculous run where they were one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, they were. They had, you had a player
you can't ignore them.
Yeah, no, and you can't. And so it's a different game today.
Yeah.
But I think that with the organization they have, and I know we knock on Mo all the time, but I do believe that they're not. Well, it's a double-edged sword. They don't overreact, which is good in some instances, but it's a double-edged sword in the fact that they don't react when they need to strong enough. So I think this year has been a little bit of a change, and I think that's why Cardinal fans right now, currently, at this moment, feel a little bit better because the Cardinals actually showed some gumption and dumped a couple players, which, in previous years, they probably wouldn't have done that. And they've went to more of this minor league system.
They dumped a manager. They got rid of a manager mid-season.
Right. And we did an emergency show on that because that was shocking that they did it in season. I didn't think under Bill DeWitt.
The invite. No.
Sorry, dude.
I'm
You're right.
joking.
You're right. Bad on me. I should have done that. But it was shocking to us that they did that. I didn't think under this management and front office they would do that midseason. So I was just as surprised as anybody. But anyway,
it needed to be done.
It needed to be done, and it was the right thing to do. I like this manager they have now. But let's talk about Schilt here in a bit. But I think we were talking about the Baez Carpenter thing.
Yeah.
I just look. You guys heard my opinion on Baez. I think he's a great baseball player. But I do think that Carpenter deserves to be in the conversation of MVP. And I think from hearing what all of you have said, you guys universally agree. All these guys, Arenado, Carpenter, Baez, all deserve to be there. Now, who gets it? We still have 50+ games to play, so who knows?
Right, and that's the biggest thing is that we've got a third of the season left.
Right.
So a lot of stuff could play out. Carpenter could cool off and play like he did at the beginning of the year and end up at 240. Baez could cool off and start making boneheaded plays and start swinging at sliders on the outside like a lot of pitchers have been baiting him. Yeah. So or somebody else could come up within the National League. Arenado could go crazy during away games, and he'll maybe get a little bit more credit for, what he's doing.
He gets that's a good point, Elliott. He gets a total knock on a lot of voters. A lot of voters compare the Coors Field, not Coors Field stats.
Right.
Compare Coors to Busch. Huge difference. Huge difference.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this: if the Nationals somehow catch fire with their new closer, and if the Nationals somehow catch fire and make it into the playoffs, there will be serious talk about Max Scherzer being the MVP. I think there's not a lot of talk about him now because they're so bad.
Right.
But he's been phenomenal.
The most stable person in that whole.
What about their all-star and Bryce Harper, the 215 average,
forget about it.
26 home?
He's not in the conversation. Now here's the one actual weakness that I think in Javier Baez's case, and I love Javi, but here's the weakness that I think he has. I don't think he's even the most valuable player on the team right now.
I was actually going to ask you that, Pete Elliott, about Javier Baez. It's like if Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo weren't having the down years that they're having, would Baez really be any kind of conversation if Bryant and Rizzo were doing what they've done the last 2 years?
He might be.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a good question.
I tell you what, the NL Central would already be put away if Bryant and Rizzo were having.
You're right.
Average
they've had
years.
Down years. They've had injuries. They've had down years.
Now here's an interesting
that's
thing.
Why Baez. Sorry.
Here's an interesting thing. I actually read it in the prep for tonight's show. Anthony Rizzo leads. Yeah, a little bit. Anthony Rizzo actually leads the league, Major League Baseball, in games with an RBI. He's driven in a run in 54 games. Now I know RBI, but still, he has driven in a run in 54 games. Nobody else has driven in a run as much as he has. So while the average is down and we're not seeing the power and the batting average that we are normally used to, he's still coming through with effective at bats. That having been said, I still don't think that it's him. Honestly, if you look at the Cubs right now, their MVP is David Bodie. Because without him, the Cubs are in serious trouble. Joe does not have the ability to play toy soldiers like he normally does if David Bodie doesn't rise to the occasion like he has. If you don't have somebody that he feels comfortable plugging in at third base every day, he's not able to give guys rest like he has still been able to do over the last 3 weeks.
If David Bodie's not playing the third base the way he's been playing in hitting, it's Tommy La Stella.
Yeah. Yeah,
and we all know.
And do you think that Bodie will impress them enough where Bryant gets put up on the block this year and he ends up in a Cardinals uniform next year?
No. David Bodie might actually be right now. He might be auditioning his way out of town for a significant return in the offseason.
Well, no, but I mean, like you're talking about a premium position at third base at the hot corner.
Yeah,
the fact that he's been doing basically his job. I mean, if you look at it, when a player comes up, whatever position that is given to you, whether it's in an interim period or a longevity type role, you still have to perform. You still have to put up the numbers. He's been doing that. You could argue that the Cardinals have played through Munoz, through Jerko, through Carpenter, and I still feel like the best option is Jerko on the bench, being happy sitting down until he gets an at bat, and Munoz at third, Carpenter at first, Wong at second, and you put – I don't want to put Martinez in the outfield. I mean, you got to put him somewhere.
No.
I know, but you can put him in right field. Shit, I'd rather put Martinez.
But why does a DH limited to a pitcher? That's what I would love. If a DH was limited to an outfielder or whatever, I mean, you could have Bader playing the outfield and Martinez hitting for him.
I have an idea about that. I'm not going to get into it right now. Like I have this whole crazy movie planned out about future athletes in baseball and the DH, but let's just
do you have a role for a bunch of jackasses sitting around a table talking about it?
Absolutely.
Too high.
Here we go.
It's too high.
It's got to be. But I mean, seriously, if you look at the NL, I mean, I know we've talked about. I briefly mentioned this at the end of the last episode that I was a part of. DH has to become a part of the National League. When we brought the DH in at the very beginning of the AL, it was supposed to be an experiment with a never-ending date. So we've watched it for 30 years, and we've watched the AL pitching get better because guess what, guys? All they got to do is go out there and throw the frickin' ball.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about double switches. And then you hear all these NL people and advocates, and it's like, well, you know, it's a part of the game. No, you adapt or you die.
Well, honestly, Adam, I prefer the NL game, but I think you're right. I think it's just a matter of time before the DH comes to both leagues.
Yeah, I think we've all been at that spot where it seems now, Pete. I totally agree. It's not a matter of when, or it's not a matter of if anymore. It's when.
Matter of when, yeah.
Yep, I agree. You know, you mentioned Jose Martinez, and I just wanted to bring this up. Why not move Martinez back and forth between left field and right field based on the batter? I mean, if you feel like you got to get him in the lineup, Put him to the opposite field where it's not likely that the hitter is going to hit the ball, just to hide him. Why stick with this sense that you have to play a single position for all 27 outs?
Can I answer that?
Defensive liability, hide him somewhere.
Yeah, Adam, go ahead.
Because the similar situation that they were in with Fowler until he got hurt, because Mr. Bow Ties and all that kind of shit.
Hey, go easy on bow ties.
Pete likes bow ties, and I think they're awful. Go ahead.
Because you don't know
big money plays, and Mr. Bow Tie injury solves the problem. So Fowler got hurt at the right time to have the guys who are really better than him be performing. When you put a guy who I know that we traded for Ozuna, but he's still making what, 12 million, 15 million, and we let go of a guy named Greg Holland for 14 million that's making league average and shutting down hitters on the East Coast for Washington. So money plays. It's a business. I mean, we talk about this all the time. It is a business. So if Fowler wasn't hurt, guess what? You wouldn't see Bader or O'Neill until he got hurt. You would see Fowler and Bader or O'Neill and Ozuna. Never in the conversation where we're like, hey, maybe we should sit Ozuna because of his shitty defense. He's not a terrible hitter, but he's a shitty defensive player in left field, because if a ball is hit his way, my daughter can throw farther than him. 7 years old.
That's now, right.
All you Cardinals fans out there who are mad right now, you haven't watched a freaking game in months, because Marcell Ozuna, as much as I love him, as much as I love Fowler, I love all my Cardinals equally until you perform. Do you know why? Because it's a business and you get paid to play the game. So if you don't do what you're paid to play the game, you shouldn't be on a field. I'm just saying.
So for those of you listening to the audio, you won't see what we're seeing right now. Adam is mimicking a bow tie with his shirt and making it spin sort of like a clown when they tell a joke.
And when you see a terrible, shitty play in the outfield, you can see this going on somewhere. Because
up in the press box.
I have to ask you guys something. I mean, since obviously this episode is just freewheeling as all get.
I'm so sorry.
I love it. I love it.
What's more surprising to you? Marcell Ozuna's lack of prowess at the plate, or his lack of prowess in the outfield? Because remember, he won a Gold Glove last year.
Yeah, he did. He clearly has a shoulder issue, and we don't know the extent of it. I mean, they haven't really talked about it or addressed it or anything. But you look at just the way he's throwing into the infield is pretty sad.
Ballerina-esque.
Well, he didn't have to play much of a left field because he had Yelich covering most of the ground for him.
Well, you're totally valid on that, Elliott. And I would make the same argument. I would make
mostly tongue in cheek on that.
No, I would say the same argument though in the batting order. I mean, look who he had around him last year versus this year. It's like it's night and day. And some of these guys can operate really well under certain conditions and others don't. Some ball players can go in and out of any lineup and perform the same way year over year. Others don't. I mean, I think Fowler is another example. Fowler operated really well because he had a defined thing in Chicago.
Right.
He hasn't had that in St. Louis. He hasn't had the same guys batting around him that he did in Chicago. Marcell Ozuna, no different. So you have to factor that in, other than just like stupidly isolating the player by himself and saying, well, the circumstances around him, I'm just going to ignore those. And
that's on an offensive standpoint. On a defensive standpoint, you stand alone because the defense you can handle on your own.
It's very true. Very true. Very true on that. There's clearly something wrong with his shoulder. Your daughter can throw. I think my 7-year-old can probably throw even harder. Which would be, he'd never throw anybody out. It would take like 6 bounces to second base.
Did you watch the Miami game when he would throw in? He would literally throw it like
I think I saw one game where he came in on a play and he underhanded it to one of the infielders. No joke. I swear to God, I saw that.
I missed it then. I didn't see it.
No. He's right. I did see that play. That's why I went like this, because I did. You would think that somebody in the recording booth would be like, "Don't show that."
All right, so they're recording anything for your movie. Are you reacting to like Cardinals baseball, like bellowing out during a key scene? Like, do you have like game cast up going, son of a bitch?
I have behind the scenes footage where I was getting into an argument with somebody about Cardinals baseball because they're a Dodgers fan, and I just go back through history and say, when have you beaten us? And
that's a good argument.
I'm sorry. Dodgers are great. I'm in LA. Dodgers. I love the Dodgers until the Cardinals come to town, and then they forget how to play baseball.
If I could sum up the Dodgers over all history, it's like online dating. You see a pretty picture, but then when you go to meet them, like, what the
freaking crazy?
Or that.
That's what LA presents. They show you the beauty, and then when you get into it's like when you're 30 feet away, everything looks great, but then as soon as you get to eye level, you're like,
oh dear,
what did I do?
Oh boy,
a lot of work done, haven't you? Ron.
Yes.
Pickett, Padres or Scott Boras?
I fucking hate the Padres, man. So much more than Scott Boras. Scott Boras annoys me. He's a dinosaur. He's going to get left behind by many clients, I think, because he cannot change his ways. He can't bullshit, spin wizardry and magical language. Like the spirals in his eyes over the last decade don't work on the owners anymore like they do now.
No, they're
so
slowing down.
I say
we're going to go with Boras first, because the Padres is much more fun. So you didn't read the article, right?
No, I purposely didn't read because you told me about it, so I said I would avoid it.
Adam, did you read the article about Jason Worth on the radio out in Philly?
I did not.
Outstanding. Okay, so the thing that caught a lot of people's attention and that Jason Worth did, and Ron, I know that you definitely sympathize with it. The thing that everybody locked on to is Jason Worth saying they've got all these super nerds in the front office that know nothing about baseball, but they like to project numbers and project players, and I think it's killing the game. That's what everybody caught on to. Mm-hmm. And Ron, he actually locked on to something that we've talked about. I don't know that we talked about it in the show, but we've definitely talked about it offline, where he says, when they come down to talk about stuff like shifts, I ask, should I just bunt it over there? They're like, no, don't do that. We don't want you to do that. We want you to hit a homer. It's just not baseball to me. We're creating something that's not fun to watch. It's boring. So that's the thing that I think a lot of people caught was Jason Worth, kind of clapping back at the statistics of baseball right now. But what I thought was a far more interesting thing is Scott Boras, because
he never disappoints.
So here is Jason Worth's story.
So
he says, I had offers in November and I was advised by my former agent to wait. Ill-advised, I guess. Spring training came and went, and about halfway through spring training, I felt like I had been working all winter. I was ready to play. So I took matters into my own hands and I called every team but one and tried to get a job. The only team I didn't call, the Mets, I wouldn't play for them. Worth told the radio guy that he had great conversations with those he called, that pretty much every manager or GM he tried took his calls. He shared the story of Gabe Kapler FaceTiming him unexpectedly to explain that the Phillies just didn't have room for him. And he said, some guys were surprised that I wanted to play, which was surprising because I wanted to play. I let my agent know I wanted to play. They said they hadn't heard from him, hadn't heard from me, just didn't know I was available. And that's one of the reasons why I'm no longer with that agent. Now, Boras has responded and has pushed back against the story. He said they have time-stamped documentation of calls that they made, of emails that they sent. But basically, Jason Worth is saying Scott Boras told me not to take the offers that I had in November, and now I've retired from baseball because of it. So
because of injury, he did
try
to come back.
Right.
But I think it probably would have been a little bit different if he would have signed with a major league contract with a team in November instead of waiting. And I'm sure there's a lot of Boris players that are probably feeling a little bit of the same way.
Especially the mid to lower level Boris clients, right?
Correct.
I'm sure Bryce Harper isn't the least bit worried about
No.
the way that Scott Boras is going to represent him this year. But people like Albert Elmore.
No, I would be Pete. I would be worried if I was Bryce Harper. I mean, his tactics, his angles they're less relevant, less effective than what they would have been. And you can't send a team a glossy catalog of a player's accomplishments like he used to
with
do.
A 223 average.
But like he did with Prince Fielder. Like he sent glossy fucking slicks like people used to send hey, we're selling a new vacuum cleaner this year.
Like a blown up baseball.
It's like, what the hell is Scott Boras doing? Scott Boras is fucking left in the dust at this point.
But I think that, but based on that story, though, I think that the people who are going to be concerned are his lower profile clients who are going to. This is like Jerry Maguire, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, Pete. I think it'll be his upper clients. I think you're going to see a lot of them.
I think that this is.
Look at what happened last off season. Look at how many people that held out.
I understand that, but a guy like Jason Worth who just wants to get one more major league contract, and the story that he's telling is Boras told him, "Nah, don't take that contract. We'll get better offers." And then it sounds like Boras didn't do much due diligence beyond early winter; that he just kind of dropped it.
He coasted in the winter. That's when he took his vacation.
Exactly, and I wonder if it's the guys like Albert Elmore Jr. who are going to be concerned about what kind of representation they're going to get, because they're not going to get a 9-figure payday.
You'll find out when they jump ship.
Right. And absolutely.
You will see people jump ship from Boras because you've already seen players jumping ship from Boras. I mean, it's going to happen. I think Jerry Maguire is the perfect analogy because Boras is – I don't like him. I mean,
I don't like his voice. I don't like his name.
I don't like his
face.
I don't like anything about Boras. And when you think about players in the offseason, they're going for that guy who's going to be doing the best thing for them, whether that's representation, money, years, because everybody has their own thing. It's like, look, I want to be comfortable for the next X amount of years, or I want X amount of money, or I want to play in X location. There are certain things that you look for in the off season. You very rarely get all of the above. So when you get asked these kind of questions from an agent, it's like, hey, what do you want to do for your next thing? What is the most important thing to you? Is it just getting paid? Is it location? Is it, money? What do you really want? And I think that the agents that are going to take advantage of this are the ones who are going to be like, hey, look, you're this age, you've played this level. Where do you want to go? Is it about where you go? Is it about winning a ring? Or is it about the money? Or is it about the years? Are you more comfortable with taking less money for more years? Are you more about, do you want to make the most amount of money in the short period of time? Or is it about location of where you play? With Giancarlo Stanton, he was like, I already have the money.
Yeah.
I want to play in New York. I'll take meetings with X, Y, and Z, knowing that I want to go to this location because I already got the money.
Shohei Ohtani.
Fuck him. Yeah. Why did you say that, Elliott?
Because fuck that guy. He knew he was going to go to the Angels, and he took meetings with like 15 teams.
It's annoying. It's
yeah.
It is annoying.
He knew where he wanted to go.
So I'm going to throw out, and obviously this wasn't part of the plan, I think one of the most interesting free agents to watch, or potential free agents to watch this offseason, may actually be another Boras client, and I don't think it's Bryce Harper. I think it could be JD Martinez.
What?
He gets to opt out after this year.
What?
Yeah, it's in his contract.
So does Clayton Kershaw, right?
Yeah, you remember.
Yeah. Kershaw will opt out.
The contract that he signed with the Red Sox was loaded with opt-outs. And there was an opt-out after the first year. And I don't think there's anybody who would disagree that he has overperformed the contract that he signed.
Yes. Yeah, he has.
So
Kershaw's 5-5. Kershaw's not opting out of his contract in LA. He's not.
No, he's not.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think so either.
I still think he does.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
That'd be tough to put 150 mil on the back thinking you're going to get more.
That would be a huge favor to the Dodgers if he doesn't opt out. Huge.
It depends on how he plays this last third of the season.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, if he doesn't opt out, the fact that the Dodgers will have him cost controlled for the remainder of his contract.
Cost control, but that's 20+ million a year.
Yeah, but it could be 30. If he goes out on the open market and he's got how many teams bidding for his services?
But look, he could end up being like Wainwright in the last 3-4 years of his career where he starts.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Scoreboard update. LA Dodgers are up, they won 21-5 over Milwaukee.
Wait, what?
21-5.
No,
what?
They didn't win 21.
Jesus Christ, that was August 2nd. What the fuck am I? Sorry.
I was gonna say
again.
I don't know why when I pulled up MLB.com it said it was on the wrong date. I'm sorry. Never mind. I will edit that out.
No, the Dodgers are trailing 5-3 with fuck on the mound.
yes.
Oh, nice.
And he just struck out Manny Machado.
Jesus, that was August 2nd.
Of course he did.
What? So the last time you open up this app, that's the date it shows you?
That's the last
time.
It takes a few seconds.
Yeah, give it a chance to refresh, Ron. Jeez. All right. So we got the easy one out of the way. Ron, I have to tell you, it was so hard because I took the boy out to the Illinois Railway Museum, and you know about his obsession with trains. He had a wonderful day on Sunday. He got to ride all kinds of trains. He was so excited, but I was so distracted because
oh no.
The San Diego Padres started putting players through waivers and gave away 2 pitchers. Neither of whom I think is going to have any effect on the wild card race or the pennant race at all, but gave away 2 pitchers. One of them landed with the Brewers. The other one we discussed about a year and a half ago about the possibility that Tyson Ross was going to sign with the Cubs, and he ended up going to the Rangers. But now he's a relief pitcher for your St. Louis Cardinals.
Thank God.
And Ron, I'm not even going to let you talk about it. For those of you who aren't privy to the chat group that Ron and Elliott and I have set up to stay up to date on everything baseball, you're in for a treat. It's another edition of Ron's Rants. I mean, these fucking guys out there. What a shit show. No, this doesn't make me feel better. They take who you don't want to take, and then you take someone they don't even want. F you, Mo, and F you to that bottom-feeding Rule 5 jerk-offs. San Diego, baseball doesn't need you or want you. That team in general should just be DFA. Hashtag league contraction. Hashtag Padres. Really, who are the teams that are any more uninteresting than the San Diego Padres? If that was a menu item, would it have any flavor whatsoever? They are an in-flight magazine at best. Who can fuck up a wet dream? Insert any name that draws a paycheck from the San Diego Padres. That's who. San Diego, stay classy and go fuck yourself.
Yes. I'm sorry, can I put a caveat on this?
Yes.
San Diego not only pilfers from St. Louis, they do it from Kansas City. They take the whole Missouri tribe and just take whatever nobody else wants. and put them in a uniform. I mean, you put Eric Hosmer, you put Will Myers, you put Perez, all these guys. Their entire team is made up of Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals. Can you really call yourself the San Diego Padres? or is it the San Diego Pussies?
I like that much better. They are. They're pilfering.
I'm sorry.
Directionless, like clueless. They're the weakest brand of anything. Like, take the car industry. Like, what's the most sad, pathetic?
Geo Metro.
There you go. Right. That's what they are, and they have no idea what they're doing. But every once in a while, they generate. Hey, we got some revenue. We'll buy some players like James Shields. We'll trade for a Matt Kemp. We'll trade for Will Myers. We'll buy this guy, that guy, and then they're just shit. Like, you go out there, you get excited, you buy a ticket as a San Diego fan. You go out there and you watch crap.
You think you're gonna go from A to Z, and you get to like J.
Yeah, right.
Ron, Braden would be so pleased by scoreboard update. Oh, fuck. Just gave up a 2-run homer to Cody Bellinger to tie the game.
Hold on.
It's now 5-5 in the top of the
Maybe I'll reverse the fortune, and I will actually try to get a hold of him.
So he struck out Machado. He struck out Justin Turner. And then Kemp hit a ground rule double to deep center, and Cody Bellinger homered on the next pitch.
Couldn't handle it.
Sorry about the noise. It's me trying to.
How dare he not answer?
Oh.
Oh, shoot. It's a Thursday already. Holy crap. This week's going by fast.
Yeah. Hey, Pete just revealed to us that O had just blown a save tonight.
He just blew a save?
Yeah.
Why can't he do that against us?
He's not facing us.
Well, when we face him,
Well, the Cardinals aren't playing tonight, Braden. Calm down. Catch your breath. Catch your breath.
So who did he blow a save against?
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
Oh, okay. At least it's not the Cubs.
Well, why would you not want him to? Well, okay, I get it.
Well,
Okay.
save against the Cubs can't mean the Cubs will win.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I wasn't tracking. Stop. I know. I was wrong. What are you? Are you playing a game right now? What are you doing?
I'm watching TV. I'm watching Sports Center, Dad.
Oh, turn that off.
All right. Well, I
didn't even know it was a Thursday because my week has been crazy.
He needs to go read The Athletic.
Why is that?
Can I tell you that football has been nuts?
Yeah.
Practice sucks and boring. But okay, so do you want me to tell you about my latest MLB franchise?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
I waited about 3 days for their new roster trade deadline update.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna believe. So I was playing for like 2 seconds. And like everyone that got traded at the deadline in real life got traded at the deadline of the video game. And the Cardinals, they traded everyone, man. And so they were like the Orioles.
Just call me dude.
They sucked. It was crazy, man. I tried to rebuild the Reds.
Why? Hold on, Braden. Your accent, your whole thing. Why are you in Kentucky now? You live in Illinois.
Kentucky? What are you talking about? What? I'm confused.
Your accent.
Kentucky.
You're sounding very southern right now.
Okay, so you got a franchise. I'm rebuilding the Reds.
He ignored whatever you said to you. He's like, nah.
Okay, I can't. What are you talking? I don't know.
I will talk to him right now. I'm like, Braden, explain to me what you're talking about. He's like, no, I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about.
Okay, so listen. So
listen.
MLB franchise.
Yep.
I'm playing, all right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to guess. So I play, and guess who comes up to bat?
Well, just tell us.
There's a guy named Domingo Ayala.
You made a player.
He hits a home run. He wins the game against me.
You made the player Domingo?
No, the guy on the other team was named Domingo Ayala. No joke. Like a made-up player. Because it was like
did he play for the Dyers?
No, he played for the freaking Indians.
Freaking Indians.
So I don't think the guys know who Domingo Ayala is. So
all right, Braden, we're talking about baseball now. Like, what's going on? So, do you have a quick take on?
I do.
Okay, well, give that because you're looking at your video game TV and not us.
What?
Just quickly, let's go.
Yeah, I told you they should have swept the Pirates and the Marlins. But they didn't because they suck. I mean, they're not doing terrible, but they still suck. Okay, but honestly, I'm getting tired of people saying, "Oh, Bryce Harper, he's been doing so good since All-Star break. He has 4 home runs." But guess what, people? Matt Carpenter's 12. Bryce Harper sucks. He's not good. Stop getting happy because your pretty boy has hit 4 home runs since All-Star break.
All right.
Stupid hair, his long beard.
All right.
The future Cardinal right there. Be nice to Harper.
What if he signs to St. Louis?
He's not going to
St. Louis.
Pete, play along.
I'm not going to pay the guy $30 million to strike.
All right, never mind. You don't have to play along because clearly Braden's like, no.
Man.
Well,
all right.
I'd rather have, I don't know, I'd rather
Dexter Fowler.
Just finish your thought and stop clicking the keys in your hand because you're clearly not paying attention.
I'm like,
he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't even listen to me. He's like on autopilot.
Sometimes.
Have a good night, Braden.
Braden, all right, Braden. I'll call you tomorrow. Love you.
I too.
Love you too.
Even though I actually been playing good.
Oh, Jesus. All right, bye.
Pete.
I can hear the controller in his hand clicking.
Well, I was trying to
doing this.
I know, right? I was trying to circumvent the whole thing because I figured once Pete rattled off a couple things, I'm like, oh, Braden's there he goes. My mistake, guys.
You had a question, Adam.
I don't think he was going to call in tonight. I think he was.
He forgot it was Thursday.
Yeah, he forgot. Yeah. He forgot the night.
Pete,
sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
Pete, no worries. Pete, where is Harper and Machado going in your opinion right now?
I think Harper's going to go to Philadelphia.
Okay, Machado.
Boy, I
St.
don't
Louis?
know. He's not going to St. Louis. you guys aren't.
That's more. That's mostly out of fear.
You guys aren't going to spend that much money.
You don't think so?
No.
Really?
What if Bill DeWitt wakes up with a huge boner like mid-November?
I disagree. I don't think it's going to cost as much as you guys think it is to get Harper. Not after this season. He's not going to get the 400, 350 that he was thinking with, let's say, 35-ish home runs and 90-ish RBIs with a 235, 238. He's hitting 232 right now. If he finishes out the year under 240, under 250, I really don't see him getting the $30 million that he wants a year. Not even with Boris as his shitty manager, agent. You know, Harper and Machado are going to be the big name money players. Machado's putting up the numbers, both offensively, defensively, average home runs, RBIs, what you want to see from a guy that you're going to spend $30 million on. LA's stupid enough to do it. Just ask the Angels. They've done it a few times.
Yeah.
Dodgers will do it too.
I don't know. I really don't know where Machado ends up. I think it ultimately comes down to his willingness to play third base.
Yeah.
If he's insistent on playing short, I think that's going to limit his market, and I don't know that he'll do that. I mean, I think I could see.
I see him playing shortstop in St. Louis or Chicago.
I still think he goes. I still think the Cubs make him the #1 priority this year. If Addison Russell continues to struggle the way he has of late. Yeah,
I agree.
I think the Cardinals can afford more than any other team in MLB right now.
Yeah, but they won't spend the money. They're cheap asses.
I disagree. Yep. I think they will.
I don't. I still don't. I mean, yes, they've made some changes and they fired a manager in the middle of the year as, you know, the crowd was calling for with their pitchforks and, you know, fire and brimstone and everything. But I do not see that. If they wouldn't sign Pujols back, they're not going to go after and spend the money, the same kind of money on, another player like that. The
difference between what LA offered and St. Louis is within millions. So it really was more that Pujols was not happy with where the Cardinals were going, clearly, and not about the money. Because he would have made more money staying in St. Louis against the tax that you get paid out here. The taxes out here are horrendous. In St. Louis, he would have made an extra $30 million just by not having to pay the taxes. It wasn't about a change of scenery. It wasn't about money. No, I'm sorry. It was more about a change of scenery than it was about the money. It was a little bit more money. I want to say it was like $2 million a year difference from now that I guess I think about it, I mean, St. Louis had the same kind of offer to Hayward, and Hayward said, I wanted to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
And
right. In Chicago, they won. In LA, they have not.
Well, yes, I understand
they
that. I just
won at that time.
Yeah.
He even came out in an article. Pujols said that he should have stayed in St. Louis. That the decision that he made was not from his heart. It was because he was offended at the fact that he had to wait until the offseason to get what he wanted. He was offered a certain, like Matt Morris, like Edgar Renteria, players over the years that they have offered lesser amount because it's like the St. Louis Cardinals discount, as we have all heard. Pujols said, no, I'm Albert Pujols. I'm worth X amount of money. Give me this or I test free agency. And it wouldn't have made sense if he left to a team that was going to pay him the exact same amount that the Cardinals were going to make. Whether it's less or the same amount, he had to get a little bit more. So he'd be like, oh, well, I got paid $250 as opposed to $242 million. Right. Are you really going to be a dick about $8 million?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go. You can argue that Pujols in a Cardinals uniform for the next 10 years for $242 million wins another World Series. Maybe. You can make that argument. In LA, they're still sniffing for the playoffs.
Yeah. With the best player.
With the best player in baseball. Yeah.
2, if you count Ohtani.
Jesus.
Oh, love that. Let's get into that real quick. Can we pivot to that, Pete, before
pivot to what?
Shohei Ohtani's homer. He hit a homer.
Which one?
He hit a home run, and MLB tweeted this. I mean, we're all on Twitter and we follow MLB, but I just love what they tweet. I mean, you have
another historic home run. It's like, no, he just hit a
homer. No, Elliott. They called it a showstopper. In the first inning, he accidentally hit one, and it went like lob shot, like over the opposite field. Like, oh, fine. I'm sorry. I'm being unfair. It was opposite field, so he actually, he centered, made good contact. Fine, kudos. But the fact that MLB decided to tweet this out, whatever fan's sitting there, oh, showstopper home run, Shohei Ohtani, first inning. Take control away from whoever the hell sends this kind of shit out, because this is just ridiculous. And this feeds into all the frenzy and all the circumstance that people who have never proved themselves. Yes, let's blanket them with nothing but just praise and oh, look how wonderful they are. And you look at stats at the end of the day, you're like, well, you really didn't matter to shit this year. Am I wrong in saying that?
Nope.
Like without Shohei Ohtani this year, would the Angels' record be any fucking different than it is right now?
No.
Probably not.
It's like Bartolo Colon's home
Then
run.
stop talking about him. Stop talking about Shohei Ohtani's landmark batting practice home runs. You're pissing us off, MLB.
You're pissing Ron off, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're not pissing you off, too? I mean, God, seriously, am I alone?
He went on the DL as a pitcher. He's hitting as a DH. He's not even playing a position right now.
Yeah.
We're looking at baseball from a standpoint that hasn't been looked at for decades, if not hundreds of years, where it's like, hey, you're an athlete, whether you can throw the ball or hit the ball.
Mm-hmm.
In the American League, you can actually just hit and get a position because you don't have to play any fucking position. All you got to do is hit the ball.
True.
You don't have to do it all. You just got to do one thing. Ask Troy Gloss.
But I would
That was a deep pull.
No, that was good.
Nice.
That was good. All right, Pete, you have a segment?
I don't. Do you?
I got
I've covered everything I wanted to cover.
All right.
Not today.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we should probably end this.
Should we?
Debacle.
Adam, you got anything you want to talk about?
He's got a lot of things. Like, he's charged up. He's on the West Coast. He's got hours left.
I've got months of shit built up out here. I'm excited about Nolan Gorman as a prospect for the Cardinals. I'm high on him. They say 2022. I think this kid, he's 18. I think by 2020 we're talking about him in the major leagues.
Wow.
20. Like Acuna Jr. for the Braves. Yeah. He's 20 years old. This kid's hit at every position so far. Nolan Gorman being drafted at 17 by the Cardinals this year, playing rookie ball, playing 37 games, 11 homers, 41 RBIs.
He just got shipped to Peoria to play the rest of the year.
We'll finally see what he can do at a different level. But, I mean, the kid can hit. Everybody's high on him. He was supposed to be a top 5 pick. So –
yeah, why did he slip?
I think it was the youth. It was the youth. It was
Well, I think there was a signing issue because he was given a full ride to a couple of different colleges, and they thought that he would take that route and play at least a year or two at the college level.
And nobody wanted to ruin the bonus pool by buying.
Kyle has an opinion on this. If you guys want to hear it, it's like,
no. No. As soon as the Cardinals signed him, San Diego gave a phone call and was wondering if we would take back one of our players in the Rule 5 draft for Nolan Gorman.
Yeah, it's a big kiss my ass email.
Yeah.
You know what? If he's that good, they're gonna have a tough decision, right? Because when do they have to protect guys with the 40-man? At what point do they have to
5 years into 5 years into their contract? Minor league. 5 years.
So he might be up before it becomes an issue.
Like once they come up to the majors, they have another 5 years. So you can actually have a player for 10 years, which is why high school players are so popular now.
Well, Tommy Pham was like the most extreme example, right? Like they had
drafted out of high school.
Years. Right.
At I believe 17, he was drafted out of the Midwest in the high school, and then he, like 3 years ago, showed up to the league, with his eye injuries and his leg injuries, and then he all of a sudden became an MVP candidate last year. And I'm sorry, we talked about Tommy Pham just now as an MVP candidate last year. How the hell is Carpenter not even near there? He's hit 31 home runs. Pham hit 22 last year. How did he get in the top 10 of voting an MVP?
Well, the Cardinals aren't even playing tonight, and I think Carp hit another one.
Yeah, and Bowman is warming up somewhere.
Yeah, right. In Matheny's backyard.
Greg Holland just got a save and struck out the side.
Totally true. And fucking Tony hit a landmark home run
in batting
practice. Yeah. I love baseball media right now. Actually, baseball media.
Thanks, ESPN.
You can kiss our collective asses.
All right, so you're right. Gorman, was he 18? He was 18 when he was drafted, right?
Yes, he's 18.
It was like a month ago.
Right,
yeah,
so
2 months ago.
He's they'll have a decision to make with him on the 40-man roster in the Rule 5 draft after the 5th draft after his signing.
5 seasons.
Yeah,
5 years.
So 5 years, they have to make a decision as far as protecting him on the 40-man or not.
That's right.
He'll be in the major leagues in 2 years.
So it won't be a problem.
Right now.
Yeah, and Kyle, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So when we're not live on YouTube, you can find us pretty much everywhere at teamofrivalspodcast.com, on Facebook at Team of Rivals Podcast, where Ron pretty much mans the ship throughout the day, on Twitter at Team of Rivals Pod, where I think all three of us kind of share duties. Although
I think you and Elliott like 80%.
Yeah, we're probably 80%. Although if it's somebody who's working to tick off Cardinals fans, you can pretty safely bet it's me. We're on Instagram at Team of Rivals Podcast. You can contact us at the show at teamofrivalspodcast.com. You can contact Elliott directly on Twitter at
TOR_Elliott.
And Adam, what's the best place for anybody to contact you?
You can find me on Twitter at Adam J. Maurer. At Adam J. Maurer.
Outstanding.
And Pete,
yes.
You were at the game last week when the Cardinals were in Chicago. I swear to God, when I texted Team of Rivals on Twitter, I literally thought I was getting Ron. I didn't go at you or at Ron. I didn't know when you respond. I'm like, I'm such an asshole because he's that was my bad, man. That was my fault.
No worries at all. None whatsoever. You can catch us anywhere you listen to podcasts: iTunes, Radio Public, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and Google Play. Obviously, our preference is for Radio Public because when you do listen using the Radio Public app or their website, you throw a couple shekels our way. And finally, like Adam, after he gets off the show tonight, don't forget to visit the team store on Sassel. Ron, it's your out. You ready?
I am. Gentlemen, this has been a very fun episode. I love what we do here. I know that I do another show, which it's very Cardinals focused, which I need to balance me. But I do love my friends here. Love a guy like Adam who just needs this. But no, it's a great deal of fun, and I look forward to doing it every week. We're gonna do it next week, right? Same time.
We are. We've got another guest, right? Brecklin Carey's gonna
No, we have Brecklin who manages Birds on the Black, which is a whole slew of talent, which I greatly respect and
Ron Brecklin told me, Ron told me off air that you're worried. Don't be. I mean, if you listen to tonight's shit show, you'll be fine.
But she was a little nervous, like, well, I've never been on a podcast before. I'm like, well, you haven't listened to ours yet. So don't worry about it. Like we're okay. not a formal group here. All right.
No, we are not.
No,
Gentlemen.
we are not. Elliott, final thoughts there? I heard you bark.
Nope. All good. All good in the hood. Looking forward to this weekend's games. So right. I'd like to see a run. It's a little bit of a run start.
Right. Well, we are too. All right, boys. Everybody have a good week. We'll be back here at it again next week. Even more vicious than we are now.
Yeah.
So everybody, kiss our collective asses.